Hey everybody, so here's a quick recap of what I did tonight on Workbench. Putting these two things together, the Twitch API that I've been working on these past couple of ones, and then coming back to the Trello system that for the time being is working with a mock of the Twitch API. So the Twitch API, previously we got it to work. It was sort of half using, it was doing all the write operations using this GraphQL endpoint that we figured out how to use, and then we were getting event data with this another undocumented API, and the only thing that was missing was getting it to getting events to live under an event series, because all of my events on Twitch are either under these two series. And I thought it was going to be a complicated thing, and so I, wanted to see if Josh was interested in helping because he had already helped get me this far, and so he actually figured out that it's actually as simple as just setting a parent ID value. And so came back in, added that, started parameterizing and turning this into, since it was previously a program, to test that the library works. Now it's actually a package and things are exported and you can use it from something else. And then I also kind of cleaned up the API, given how things work now. And so then the idea was to update the mock to match that new API, and then get that mock to work in the Trello application. And then that worked, so then it was basically ready to go to just drop in this new Twitch API client. And it worked. We had to work out some bugs, and most of them, a couple of them were how I dealt with date time stuff. And I had to refactor some stuff, but a lot of it came down to I was depending on doing these creating and deleting events, and then making decisions based on the events that exist. And it turns out, because of all of my reads of event data was coming from that separate endpoint, that endpoint, wherever it is now, maybe I took it out, that endpoint ended up being cached, and so it would take like about a minute for it to update, and so that was not really workable, because we'd do an operation and then another operation would have to was based off reading it, so it just would break. And luckily Josh came in and figured out how to do the query to use GQL to get the data we needed. And so we threw that in, and basically it's all working now. So what this looks like is, and I can actually use this today, like this data here came from this system. So I have this schedule here in Trello, and I can reorder these things. I can rename them. I can create new stuff. And then for the time being, I just run this, but you can imagine where it watches or gets triggered by a webhook or something, and then does this, and it'll go and apply those changes to Twitch. So you can see they're different order. I renamed them and we added a new one, and it actually put this in the next slot for Workbench. So it's aware of my streaming schedule, and so it slots things in where the appropriate thing is. And that was the whole idea, is I don't have to worry about the metadata as well as the timing. I can just come up with an idea and drop it in here, and if I want, I could drop something else in before it, and it would basically redo the schedule. And it does that in a non-destructive way, so if people have reminders or if they are linking to it or whatever, they won't be destroyed. And so you can see I can get rid of this, and I'll fix this and run this again. And there's a lot of, so you can see everything's back to how it was. Filling any slots that don't have anything with TBD for now in the next week, and so those are then used and updated, or I can update them or whatever. So yeah, this is something that will actually improve my workflow. It took a little bit longer than I thought, just because of the state of the Twitch API ecosystem, although that might be changing if they make this GraphQL endpoint public. But we can call this project pretty much finished for now, and I can actually use it. So that's it. The next thing that I'm going to be working on is hopefully a smaller scale little automation project. I want to use JSX, which is the Mac OS script, basically Apple script, but using JavaScript. I want to use that, which actually now exposes the Cocoa API, so I can actually build applications in JavaScript. And so I want to basically create a little menu item that will scroll the currently playing on Spotify, which will then feed into my stream and hopefully be helpful, as it will put what I'm listening to on the screen somewhere. Anyway, that's it. If you like this, you want to follow along on future projects and stuff, subscribe or follow me on Twitch. Either way, see you later.